Alright guys, MTech Guy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the 5 things that I hate about my E60 M5. Now 5 seems to be the standard level of hatred towards a car on YouTube. Gotta be like everybody else, can't do anything different. Well, I'm going to be a bit different today. I'm going to be talking about 4 things that I hate about my E60 M5, not 5. Because just before filming this video, I tried to think about 5 things that I hated about it, and I was really struggling to come up with something. So although the video is about 5 things that I hate, it's actually 4. So there you go. And listen, we're not going to be talking about daft things in this video, like how bad the fuel economy is, or how expensive the parts are. I know all that before I got into the car, before I bought the car. So it would be pretty stupid of me to start whinging about that now. But this video is more aimed towards these little niggles that crop up, you know, nothing major, but just these little things that bug you throughout the ownership of the car. Alright, let's get into it. Number 4, to start off with, we're going to be talking about this front wheel arch gap. I did a video on this recently. It looks horrendous. It doesn't look in keeping with the rear arch gap. It's uneven. It looks ridiculous on a car like this, which is essentially a super saloon. It's giving me a headache. Let's move on to the next thing. I'm sick of looking at it. Alright, number 3, we're going to be talking about the SMG. Now, I'm a massive fan of the SMG 3 transmissions in these cars. I'd much prefer it over the manual that was offered with these cars in America. But the SMG is an amazing transmission. It really matches this engine. It really suits the car. I love it. But what I don't like about it is that when you pull over, you turn the car off, you jump out, you might be nipping out to grab something from the shop, whatever. As soon as you get back in the car, it always defaults to that first shift setting again. Then you have to mess around readjusting it. I just want to set the car up every time I take it out, just how I want it. Maybe dial it in later on if the roads change. But I find it's a pain when the car dictates to you that it's going to default to that first shift setting just because you've jumped out of the car for a couple of minutes. Okay, so as soon as we're in the car now, we'll talk about number 2, and that's this lovely Glitchmaster 5000 iDrive system. Now this thing drives me nuts. There's 2 things that I really don't like about it. You've got all these heater controls, your AC controls there. You've got your temperature adjustment, you've got your fan speed, but you've got no adjustment there. Control where you want the airflow, whether you want it in the footwell, up on the windscreen, out the center vents, whatever. You've got to go into the iDrive through all the sub-menus using this thing here. And of course you're doing this while you're driving as well, so I don't understand why they couldn't have all the heater controls on there. They've only got a partial amount, and then you've got to go into all these sub-menus to adjust the airflow. It's ridiculous. It drives me nuts. And it's the same type of thing with the radio too. All you've got is your volume knob there. Now you've got no radio preset numbers on the fascia there on the center console, so it's the same again. You've got to go into them sub menus to select your radio presets rather than just hitting one button in a split second with your finger while you're driving. You've now got to go deep into the iDrive settings just to find the radio station you want. And yes, I know they did upgrade this later on with the facelift models, but these earlier models wasn't so much so. Okay, now before we jump out the car, just one extra little thing we might as well talk about while I'm having a bit of a rant, is this door handle here. It looks ridiculous. It just looks a bit odd. You've got these nice flowing lines of the door card, and then you've just got this real sharp intersection there. I know they're probably trying to make it look contemporary, but it just looks massive, and it just looks ridiculous. I don't like it. I don't like that it just cuts through the nice flowing lines of the car. And I might have mentioned before, when I first bought this car, my eldest daughter, she might have been about 7 at the time, and she jumped in the passenger seat here, and she's looking at this door handle going, "What's wrong with this, Dad? Why is it like that?" And I'm going to, yeah, good question, you know. Alright, so we've added an extra one here, so maybe this video was about 5 things I hate about this car. And again, with the door handle here, just like the iDrive buttons and whatnot, this was something that was altered later on with the facelift model. Maybe this video should have been about why don't you buy a facelift model M5. I don't know. Let's move on to number 1, eh? Alright, so here we go. Number 1. Now, them other 4 items that I've just mentioned are neither here nor there, really. You know, they're just tiny little things that kind of bug me, but it's not the end of the world, you know. But this one thing, this is the thing that really, really drives me nuts about this car. The one thing that I really don't like about owning this car, and that is that I don't often get to drive it at its full potential. Now here in New Zealand, the speed limit is 100 kilometers per hour, which is 62 miles per hour, so it's not exactly up there. And the roads here aren't exactly set up for supercars either. There's no real motorways here. It's mainly just single roads out in the countryside and then built up city areas. Now we do have some lovely windy roads, beautiful scenery, but most of them are single lane highways, and with a population of only 5 million people, there's not exactly that many roads here either. So although it's an amazing car to drive, the sound that it makes, the acceleration's exhilarating. It's a difficult car to stretch its legs and take it up to that full potential, but that's mainly due to the environment that you're driving in, you know. Obviously different scenario if you take it on a racetrack or whatever. Alright, so there we have it guys, this the 5 things that I hate about my E60 M5. Any of you guys that own one of these cars out there, feel free to comment below. Let me know these little niggles that you don't like about your car. I'd be interested to hear about it. Make sure you give the video a like. Check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more M5 content. Consider subscribing if that's your cup of tea. I'm MTech Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.